Hello, everyone. This is Tom of the Hidden Truths channel. How's everybody doing this evening? I hope you're doing well. Anyway, tonight's live stream is going to be is the list, the E-list. I don't want this to get censored, so we'll refer to it as the list. Is this going to be the straw that broke the camel's back? Okay? And I think it's going to be. All right? I really do. So, anyway. Crazy times, but yeah, this is what we're dealing with. So anyway, we're gonna have a discussion on that tonight because this is one subject, I'm sorry, Mr. Trump, that just isn't gonna go away. But anyway, hey, J99, glad to see you here. This might be an interesting conversation. There might be a lot of messages that need to be deleted, because I'll get into the subject. But anyway. Boy, is everybody hot enough? What's it up there like in Maine? Is it as hot as it is here? Woo! Hot all over the country. And then you're dealing with that hot wind. I don't know what's worse. What takes your breath away more, going from into cold with a really cold wind or going into a lot of heat with a really hot wind? They both take your breath away. Okay? Anyway, crazy time. Hi, Amanda. How you doing tonight and stuff? Hey, I figured out about the shirt thing. What I'll do is in a couple weeks, I should get it to where I can take money into the channel, but with super chats and stuff like that. But it'll have to be done in a way I don't have PayPal or nothing like that. I got to figure out how all that works. Hey, how's it going, The Guardian? I have to figure out how all that works because if we go I want to be able to put it on some type of financial system to where I can use that financial system to pay for it. You know what I'm saying? So I don't have to transfer funds or nothing like that. And anyway, yeah, tonight we're going to have an interesting discussion. We got a few people here. Let's start it right away. Okay. Is this E-list? And when I say E-list, everybody knows what I mean. I'll refer to it as a list because I don't want this thing to get censored like crazy. But is this going to be the straw that breaks the camel's back? Because the Republicans exposed themselves on this to show us, yes, it's just two wings of the same bird, okay? And a lot of people are upset about this. And this is just something to, that's not going to go away. The thing is, we all know the truth, and I don't understand some of these people that voted for Trump that honestly believe this list doesn't exist. Are you kidding me? Worked on his own? Are you kidding me? That's the most craziest thought I ever thought that you could ever think of. One thing about this channel, it doesn't ask for money or donations or sell anything. So if you want to support the channel, hit that thumbs up, the subscribe button, and the bell notification. Help spread the word. But yeah, we got an interesting show tonight, so I wish everybody would stay. But is this going to be, finally, the government has exposed itself? I just, like I said, I can't believe these Republicans. I mean, a lot of us people are not happy. This is the thing. When you're not happy voting for the lesser of two evils, okay, that means you're critical of both sides. All right? And, it's bullshit. I can't believe the silence from the other side, from the news media. It's like the story they want it to go away so bad. Bunny Snacks, hello, how you doing? Should there be a third party? No, why a third party ain't gonna work is because same thing with the Tea Party, okay? We had a great start at a Tea Party. They were interviewing congressmen that got elected through that took their Constitution with them and stuff into the halls of Congress. All right, but what happened to it? You don't even hear about it no more because it got taken over. I mean, these people have their tentacles in everything. And you got people there that can be bought or blackmailed or whatever, and it just kind of went away, didn't it? But should we have a third party? Yeah, it's called the Constitutional Party. It needs to arm itself and take our country back and reinstate the Constitution. Okay? We need the American Party back. The American mindset that was on September 12th, 2001, no matter what your color was, race was, what your political affiliation was, no matter what you did in your bedroom, which nobody cared back then, but we were all Americans. Okay? Because what we got in there now, even Trump saying, oh, the two-party system and stuff. And maybe you're talking about what's that Elon Musk called it, the American Party or whatever. It's not, our problems are not going to be solved in Washington. Our problems are going to be solved when we take Washington and bend it over our knee and spank the shit out of it. That's when we're going to start solving our problems. Okay? And the thing is, if American people decide to rise up and say, we've had enough, the government should leave, right? If they choose to fight us, that just shows right there that they don't have Americans' citizens' best interest in mind. American people, the government would have to fight us, right? If they're not going to leave willingly, well, I guess we got to do like you do with the illegals. In my home, by the back of the belt and the back of the shirt, and throw them right the hell out of your house. I have done that to people before. I'm a really passive guy. And I take a lot of crap. But when enough is enough, I solve the problem. When I got to get involved, the problem's going to get solved. Okay. Robert Dupre, hi, how you doing? I'm tired of Congress. They never get anything done. That's because they don't even know the Constitution. They're too busy. They're too more worried about passing bills to figure out how to get more money out of us so they can spend it on more ridiculous shit. When you got a state that's saying they want people to have electric cars, and then what was it, 2 years ago? Was it last year, was it? Where California was telling people we have electric shortage, you can't plug in your cars? That's just beyond crazy thought, okay? I keep going on with this week. Has the human race gone insane? This is just another example of it, okay? But, the thing with this Epstein list is independents wanted it released, Democrats wanted it released, Republicans, conservatives wanted it released. I'm not going to put the conservatives with the Republicans anymore, because no constitutional conservative can agree with being $37+ trillion in debt, adding more to it every quarter. $1 trillion every quarter. Oh my God, I can't even. They are so busy dividing is that nothing to help working folks is being done. The opposite is true. Yeah, and they just keep taking more money from us. This is why I'm going to live poor. This is why I'm going to live humble, because I refuse to spend any amount of my time as I get older, and I've spent enough time paying taxes and stuff. I just have to be poor so I don't spend as least time as possible to support our freaking government. I'm willing to do my little part to make a freaking difference. Even if I got to so-called suffer a little bit, but I like living this way, so I don't really call it suffering, all right? So anyway. But yeah, what are they doing for the American people? Like I say, he said he was going to get rid of the IRS. Boom, boom. Okay, we go to a 10% federal sales tax, right? When you buy something, you pay 10% to the government for it, just like you pay state sales tax or city or whatever. And get rid of the IRS. That way your pay is between you and your boss and nobody else. Nobody else. And then since they ain't got to deal with an IRS no more, especially if you're in a company that has, I don't know, 1,000 employees and you ain't got to spend any more money on dealing with the IRS and Social Security tax and all this other shit, boom. Guess what? You can give your employees a 10 or 15% raise right off the top board, which pays for that 10% sales tax. Now, am I stupid? Or did I just get an education back when people used to get frickin' education? But see, that would solve the problem and that would be fair. Because like I say, a guy like me who spends practically no money every month, I wouldn't pay shit in taxes. And if people that like spending money and rich people that spend a lot of money, you know, they want to buy their yacht, well, that's a 10% federal sales tax on your $10 million yacht. What's not fair about that? Yeah, flat 10% tax on what you buy. Not what you make and buy. What you buy. Your pay should be between you and your boss. And of course your wife. She needs to know too. Or your husband's in there. Don't forget that. But I mean, you know how much the economy would go up? I mean, you got a raise that takes care of your income tax that you're going to pay for towards the federal. And then, you know, I've been in jobs before where I paid $1,000 a month in federal income tax. Now, what could I have done with that extra $1,000 a month? I'd say I refuse. I used to get so angry when I'd see how much my taxes were taken up. Crazy time. And then you got people calling you for donations. And I would answer like this. Well, I donate every month to the government. If you want more of my money, you'll have to call your congressman and see if he can get more of my money. Fucking give all that money, and then you sit there and supposed to donate more? And then, you know, if you got a little bit of money, you get used even more because you own a house. What do? You get looked at like you know, when you go to sell it, all you do is got these greedy bastards seeing how much money they get to make off your sale. I'll never go through that shit again. Never go through that shit again. You know, can I just sell my house, or we gotta sit there and see how much money you guys can all make off this while I'm getting driven nuts? Anyway, crazy time. Thieves, yeah. A lot of people out there. This is the thing, you're chasing something that's worthless. The only reason it's worth something is because people got this illusion that it's worth something. Because, you know, you can give it to a storekeeper and exchange it for goods and services. Okay, but when the storekeeper can't pay his bills with it no more, well, then everything's going to crash overnight, okay? But getting back to the list, like I say, the straw that broke the camel's back. Now the government has exposed itself, like I say, two wings of the same bird. And they're all protected. I mean, I made a video about this 3.5 months ago, about how the list will never be released because Trump's got world leaders and royalty and all these people all over the world, the big corporate execs, calling him Hollywood, saying you can't release this. I mean, believe me, there's quite a few people that don't want this released. The thing is, he's caving into them and not to his voters. But, you know, I made that video 3.5 months ago. All right. And then now they're talking about the Middle East and the princes and stuff in Saudi Arabia. No shit. I said that in that video, too. You know, he went to Saudi Arabia and they say, hey, man, don't let that list go out. And then it's amazing. Netanyahu was in the White House and left just before all this bullshit with there's no list. Netanyahu was there, that Wednesday and Thursday? And then Friday we get this no list shit. Anyway, it just, I'm not saying that I can sit there and get a perfect picture with the dots I'm connected, because you can't. You know why you can never get a clear picture with the dots you connect? Because that's the way they've created it. That's why they always sit there and make sure they release a lot of misinformation when information's being released or found out or whatever. Okay? You protect the truth with a bodyguard of lies. I think Winston Churchill said that, didn't he? So, anyway, that's what we're doing. These people are cooking. I can't believe they expect the average American to believe, okay? There's no list. All these parents of children that have just disappeared, hundreds of thousands of them, that there's no list. Like I say, that's another reason why they can't release it. All these parents that had missing children, or they see a video of their child that for whatever might have been sacrificed. Anyway, I always say, if that happens, you couldn't make a prison strong enough to keep the parents out from killing these people. Let's go, Edward Snowden. That's another thing that's been dropped. But see, they just exposed something we already know. Okay, I knew that when I was in the service, and that's what I've been trying to say that for years. We lie. But they just exposed something we already know. Now instead of exposing that, like the Walker family, when I was growing up, the Walker family, a couple, was it a brother and his uncle or whatever? They were in the Navy and they were selling secrets and stuff. No, now it's not selling secrets. Now it's trying to find out all of your secrets. You make it so you have no privacy. Okay? So, like I say, our biggest enemy is in this country. Okay? Both in D.C. and everything that D.C. let in through the borders. Okay? It's going to come to a point where Americans are going to have to deal with both these problems. Okay? And if this Epstein list is the straw that broke the camel's back, like in the Civil War, what was the straw that broke the camel's back to cause that to happen? People will say Fort Sumter. No, that wasn't the straw that broke the camel's back. The straw that broke the camel's back in November of 1860 was when Abraham Lincoln got elected president. That's when the South had finally had enough. And then they started succeeding. 3 months after that? I'm waiting for to be deported because of a long lost aunt I don't know about or something. Yeah. Instead of a lawyer coming up and giving you papers saying you were the exec or the person who got the most in the will, they're coming to. Yeah, I know, it's crazy. I wanted to make a video once. I need some help making videos. I need somebody to help me. But I want to do a video of a cop running you down, and I'm an American. Stop you illegal. I want to do some crazy, like I want to make some videos, some shorts of me riding my horse. I got a video I want to make in my mind, but I need two people to do it because I need, where they're beside me as I'm running full blast and stuff. So I need to bring a vehicle into it. And it's, the short's going to be about a minute, so it's going to take me about 3 hours to make. I got to find somebody to help me with that. But for entertainment purposes, people, that's crazy stuff I come up with in my mind. But I want to show you all how fast my beauty is. So it's pretty cool. I like her. Those are some AI programs you can't buy to make those. There are some. I don't want to deal with AI. I just need to learn how to edit and stuff. Like I say, there's a lot of things I need to learn how to do on YouTube. And I will learn them when I can spend all my time on YouTube. I don't need a lot of money to survive. But when it comes to the day when I get monetized and the algorithms finally let loose of their total grip over my throat and I start having live streams like I used to. I mean, that live stream where I had 21,000 people in that hour, my God. My viewing hours to get monetized, you need subscribers. There's a couple levels. 500 subscribers, 3,000 hours of view time, or 3 million shorts being viewed, okay? And the thing is about the 3 million shorts being viewed, how the hell are you supposed to get that when you won't even put the shorts on the feed to be viewed? Anyway, but that 1 week I did real good. They chopped about 200 hours from me, but I'm like at almost 1,000 hours, and it's coming to the next few weeks. I'll get to where I can get it monetized. It depends on how much YouTube fights me. But in the channel, I guess, whatever. I got lots of things I want to do. I tell you what, whatever I can do to get the truth out, however I got to dress it up, okay, and make it entertainment, somehow fool the algorithm into not understand what I'm doing, but a human being can. I'm thinking about making little 2 or 3 minute short comedy skits, advice for patriot, something comical, patriots living in the twilight zone. I don't know what I'm going to name it. But, to make people laugh, when you sit there and crack a joke and people understand it, it makes them think. They understand it. That's one way to sit there and get to somebody. If they can laugh at it, they can start understanding what you're talking about. But, we live in a different world, okay? We have no Epstein list, Santa Claus. But did you like that invites? Check out my shorts I did in the last few hours about Santa Claus, Easter Bunny, and what list. This stuff pops in my mind. Like this morning, right? I'm listening to Impeach. He's under capital ICE, that's all capitalized, and cops. At ICE cops. Cops is all lowercase. And listen to his live stream. Yeah, he's like this. He don't have many people there and stuff. Then all of a sudden, ride my horse, get to a part, I get done with my first, not quite my first half, but after 3 miles of hard riding, we walk for a half a mile. And getting ready to interact with him again, and his live stream gets canceled. I mean, wasn't all this internet? I remember all this internet before it existed, when it was all coming out in the 80s, when they were talking about free flow of information. Nobody's going to sit there and restrict anything. Everything was going to be free too, okay? And they did talk about getting rid of schools and schools being done, at home and stuff. I don't think they'll make that mistake again. But before the internet and how everything, like say, if you had something to say, you were going to get to say it and stuff. I mean, YouTube came out best thing. A lot of people made businesses off of it. Wow, if you had the balls to be an average guy and get on a social media platform and talk about, I don't know, anything. Anything that was your subject, anything from time travel to politics to underwater adventures, who cared? But I bet you back then there weren't like trolls like they have now. Oh, I didn't see that. Like, share, subscribe. Bye-bye. Thank you, Amanda. Thank you, Amanda. Appreciate you being here. That's one thing. Since I put my moderators in, this channel's views have dropped because the old trolls can't come in here. Okay? Anyway, crazy time. Anyway, let's get back to the list and breaking the straw that broke the camel's back. Like I say, when Lincoln got elected, that was the straw that broke the South's back and said, we had enough of this. And this is when they started, talking about, well, they had been talking, anyway, this is when the secession got serious, okay? But is this what's going to cause it for Americans to sit there and finally had enough? What I would like to see is some liberal Democrats that are pissed off about this making videos. I mean, if I start hearing liberal Democrats agree with Trump, I know the jig's up, all right? But it just doesn't seem, everybody wants a story to go away. We're talking about our children. My God, if my kids were ever have disappeared, I protected my kids the best I could. I mean, I would have went to the ends of the earth to sit there and hunt the sons of bitches down that did it. And now people just want, well, the lists don't exist, was sleeping under the rug. He did it all on his own. Bullshit. Bullshit. You're telling me all these people are such a misjudge of somebody, what they're like? They could misjudge somebody so bad that they could think Epstein was a great guy when he was just this. I mean, when did he have time with all these videos, all these hours of videos? When the hell did he have time to talk to anybody else? God, he must never left his bedroom if they're just videos of him. And then the money, billions of dollars. The thing is, he wasn't making no money with Hollywood. He wasn't making no money off our politicians. He was making money off the royalty, the other people around the world, the really wealthy people, And we got a few in this country, Bill Gates. Don't forget that Melinda Gates left her husband and took the kids and basically excommunicated him from their lives. So can't imagine what happened there. Oh, yeah, there must be video of the people on the list. Yeah, he blackmailed them all. I don't know how low of a person you would have to be to sit there and get suckered into something like that. Somebody were to come up to me and offer me a kid, I'd punch him the fuck out. And then I'd probably sit there and drag him to the cops and say, I think we got a child trafficker here. To be even tempted by that shit. Who can hurt a child? Especially after you've had children. Who can hurt a child? After you sit there when they're born and you're crying with your wife, well, you're looking at your child for the first time. Who the fuck who's ever had children can hurt a child? I'm just curious because I'm definitely not capable of that. But these people are beyond. Oh, these people are so evil. We don't have a country if we can't enforce the laws on everybody. The whole foundation of this country no longer exists. A land of laws, not a land of men. Meaning everybody is subject to the law equally, no matter what your status is in the society or how much money you have. Then, like I say, you got social media platforms, which I knew I was going to get censored tonight because you're not even allowed to talk about this. So now we got social media, Jeff Bezos and all these people, Mark Zuckerberg, protecting Trump. What about this ain't right? What am I missing here? Did we just go through an election? I mean, holy shit. I need to make a short about this. Trump has unified the country. Can you believe that shit with there being no list and him not having to do a frickin' thing? He has unified the country. Incredible. He drops 14 bombs on Iran, bunker busters, and after thousands of years of war, now there is peace in the Middle East. Do you believe that, J99? And not only that, but an 18-year-old nerdy kid can outsmart the Secret Service, military units that were there, the local sheriff's department cops that were all there. After planning about the president showing up, this 18-year-old nerd can sit there and take pot shots at the president. Now, my bullshit detector is going way the fuck off. Okay. But yeah, that's going to be my I don't know what I'm going to call that, the ridiculous thought of the day. But yeah, look at Trump can just get up in the morning and say hi, and he just started world peace. And don't forget, Trump's up for the Nobel Peace Prize. What other president got that again? Oh, that would have been Obama. So that means what? About a month or two after Trump gets the Peace Prize, Nobel Peace Prize, we're going to sit there and start, crazy time. If he don't expose this list, there is absolutely no reason for the government to come to my door for anything. I don't break the law anyway. But if they have no reason to come, if the FBI can't even see the list when it was on their desk and they couldn't see the Hunter Biden computer when it was right there in their possession and none of this stuff. I wish that storekeeper of that Hunter Biden laptop would have just released that all. Put himself in some safe place. Real safe. Like really, really, really safe. And should have released it all. But, now it's just another thing we get to think might have happened and stuff. FBI was infected by the Dems. Not Americans. Let's not even call them Democrats and Republicans anymore. They're not Americans. Not constitutionalists. Non-founding father people. Definitely not for the American citizen. Not Americans. They just happen to be in charge. I don't care what fucking party they're. I'm like saying, I am not voting for the lesser of two evils no more. This bullshit. All the Democrats and liberals, you're getting what you wanted. Yeah, do you think it would be worse with Kamala Harris? It's just Alligator Alcatraz would be full of people like me. And they wouldn't have a problem with that. There'd have been something that, we needed that for a long time. See, you would just have the same shit being done, just to a different group of people. And the money would still be pouring out of D.C. and, out of our wallets into D.C. and to be used against us. But don't worry, there's no list. Can we just stop talking about that? No. Like I say, this is our children. We got to protect our children because these people are not going to be scared. They are going to be emboldened now. And it's going to get worse. It may take, 6 months to a year before we start noticing, hey, something's not right here. But, they're going to be emboldened. Why wouldn't, it's just, it's human behavior. And how do you stop it? Okay, we're dealing with adult children. I'm sorry, it's going to be a high velocity exchange of ideas. We don't want this, but we have to do it. When they were telling us in the Declaration of Independence to throw off this government and put new guards in charge of our freedom and liberty, however they said it. Okay, I don't remember the exact quote. They put that in there because they knew the time was coming when we would have to do it again, when there would be a government in charge of us that had no idea what they weren't going to follow the Constitution, and we'd come to a point where the American people were being fleeced. I mean, this is the thing, people. Either we take care of our problem in this country, or we keep pushing Russia and China, and they're going to take care of it, okay? We all got the same common enemy. I mean, Jesus Christ, our government's fucking with us just as bad as they're fucking with other countries. And I'd rather us deal with it and get the problem solved, bring peace to the world, at least pull everything back and say, hey, everybody can take a deep breath. The United States is going to go home and stop bothering people. Go down to 5 carrier groups, 2 on the East Coast, 2 on the West Coast, and 1 in the Gulf. Boy, you could cut a lot out of the military budget with that, couldn't you? With all, what do we have, 183 bases around the world? Mm-hmm. Boy, just what we have is the base of the United States in Hawaii and Alaska. Imagine going down to that thought process. And then kicking the illegals out and now saying, hey, guess what? We got 20 million jobs open. No more welfare next month. Everybody go out and get a job. My brother in Omaha where he lives by Omaha, said when ICE went in there a couple weeks and raided the packing plants, the next day they were up full running because they had people lined up outside the street to get jobs. So tell me Americans don't want to work. And that's another thing, Trump. He wants to give make citizens out of farm workers and, all the people that are serving us. All the people they're exploiting. I can't remember the term for it now. Where they just make them citizens. What is that term again? They did it back in, Ronald Reagan did it back in 87, I think it was. He did it. The same thing to appease them. Okay? But anyway, I'm sick of it. Like I say, I work in a job field where I'm sick and tired of competing with people that shouldn't be in this country. Okay? It's not fair. Anyway, all that's very expensive for us taxpayers. Yeah, I could go in there and cut the fucking budget. It wouldn't be a problem for me. We paid back that $37 trillion in 4 fucking years. You know why? Because when Americans got to pay this debt back, everybody's going to have to hurt. That includes politicians. Like I say, my thing with politicians is, why do we need to pay them so much? Build them up. You got the BEQs, which is Bachelor Enlisted Quarters, and BOQs, Bachelor Officer Quarters, okay? So they don't need to make all this money. You build some barracks in D.C., officer quarters, and that's where they stay when they're serving us. You make their lives not uncomfortable, but not as comfortable as they are. And you cut their pay. They don't need 20 people on their staff. We voted for them, okay? Instead of going to parties, sit up there working 16 hours a day in Congress part of the time, and then the rest of the time in your office, frickin' working. You get one secretary. Boy, you could. And then we get rid of the Health and Human Services Department. That's like $1.5 trillion every year. And then you downsize the government to the Department of Defense, which it should be called, because on the Department of Defense, since we're technically not in any wars, the Department of Defense should have $1 trillion+ budget this year. Now, should it? Okay? The Department of Treasury, the Department of State, and the Attorney General, who's not Pam Bondi. Now, just think how much money we could sit there and pay off the debt if we downsize the government to that. And let states handle their own issues. And let local jurisdictions handle their own crime. Okay? A lot of things would change. I know if I was sheriff of a fucking county and the feds came in, I'd say, get the fuck out of here. You ain't touching shit or nobody here. You tell me who I need to get, and I'll get them and deal with it. Anyway, but I guess that's wrong thinking. Because, this is one thing I say, the feds, if they show up out in these areas where they're not from, they don't mind pulling their gun out and shooting somebody because they're not responsible for the community. But if somebody who lives in the community and their kids go to school and stuff, and he pulls his gun out and shoots somebody unlawful, or what somebody would call unlawfully, whether I thought he had a gun or whatever, how the feds do, with their 6 a.m. raids, he's responsible for his local community. I'm not saying we're going to live in Mayberry, North Carolina with Andy Griffin and stuff, okay? That's where Prepper Nation hangs out. Oh, I miss him on YouTube. But some people just have had enough. People come and go, and I'm, sure I'll be the same way, but right now I'm filling the spot of some of the people that left. People that have had enough. But anyway, people that, basically don't exist, just like the list. I go on and on about this. Like say, we don't have a country. If they're going to sit there and try to pull this scam over our eyes, okay, the Republicans lost the House and the Senate at the midterms, and they lost the presidency in 2028. That's going to be part of the repercussions of this debacle. Okay? Hate to say it, but that's just what it is. Because Republicans are not going to come out and vote if they know they're just going to get the same shit the Democrats are going to give them. They're going to be like me. I'm not voting for the lesser of two evils no more. But that's what's going to happen. I mean, you're just not talking Republicans. You want independents. And they always talk about the independents are so important. Do you think the independents are going to forget this in 3 years? This subject ain't going away. I mean, remember, the gal in Australia, the victim that sat there and said she'd never kill herself and stuff, and she killed herself, right? No client list, okay? No. So Epstein was the only client. It's like I say, how the hell did he even be able to socialize with other people if he never got out of his bedroom long enough because he was making videos all the time? And where did the money come from? What was he stealing it from these kids he was raping? I'm not that stupid. See, this is the thing. I'm not that stupid. And nobody else is either. Like that short I made, okay? The difference between, how did I say it? God, I can't remember. Like I say, I think I'm just the messenger. Let's go watch a short about the Santa Claus list and the E-list. Oh, the difference between the E-list and the Santa Claus list is one exists and one doesn't. But most of us ain't waiting around the Christmas tree like the government wants us to. They just pop in my head. I don't know what to tell you. But see, it should be entertaining for people to say, oh, that guy's freaking crazy, right? Strictly Cycling, hey, how's it going? I'm an independent. I, I tell you what, I don't belong to none of these. I'm a constitutional conservative. I believe a country should follow its constitutional republic rules and laws, and we should definitely be fiscal responsibility. Protect our borders, protect the money supply, and make sure you protect my pursuit of happiness, just like your father wanted. Strictly cycling. I'm sure you didn't pursue happiness like he did. You're probably looking at him like when you were milking those cows and said, how the hell can dad be happy at this? But then again, look what I do. How can I be happy at that? But good to see you. Strictly Cycling is, he's out of New York City. He's a personal trainer, 65 years old, and probably take us all out, huh? Anyway, don't our freedom revolve around democracy? No, because we're a constitutional republic with democratic principles. This is what I'm saying. If we were a democracy, then Trump could run for a third term because they could just, hey, as long as over 50% decided it was okay, you can do it. What kind of stupid shit is that? Hey, we want all white people to be slaves because, black people were slaves 200 years ago. So you vote on it and it happens. And then for 4 years in a democracy, you're the sheep. And the next 4 years or 8 years, you're the wolf. But in the constitutional republic, even the minorities are protected. Like the LGBTQA plus, they're protected. They have the right to pursue their happiness. Okay, but when you're dealing with the laws, they're breaking that. I don't believe riding through on a parade naked on your bike in front of children is the right thing to do. In a nudist camp, go for it. There's a time and place for everything, no matter what kind of bad habits you have, right? And this is what people don't understand. The Constitution handcuffs the government. The Constitutional Republic handcuffs the government and gives ultimate power and authority and freedom to the people. And that's why Washington hates it so much. In a democracy, the people give up their power to the government, their authority to the government. Okay? That's why in the Constitution that rules. That means the people rule. In a democracy, the people that you send to D.C. rule. Seems to me we're living in that type of system now. Strictly Cycling. We've lived in a representative democracy. All I got to say is, you want a democratic democracy? That's what East Germany was. Okay, you're old enough to remember that. East Berlin, the DDR, Deutsche Democratic Republic. That's what North Korea is. Constitution means you have rules from the beginning. It's like you get into a game of a Monopoly. It's got a rule book. Everybody has to follow them rules. You're not allowed to have a democracy and say, oh, guess what? We have 3 players here, and 2 of us have decided that we want to change the rules in this rule book. Can you get any more on a democracy? Why it doesn't work? And all of a sudden you got the sheep there, that the one guy who's getting eaten by the wolves and gets cleaned out of the game. That's pretty good analogy, I think, huh? Okay, they need to start teaching government again. They need to start teaching the founding fathers and our revolution and the whole idea, at least to the point of the education I had by the time I was in kindergarten. If these people at least had that educational level, we wouldn't have half the problems. Yes, the Second Amendment is great. The Second Amendment is a gift from God, okay? God gave us a gift with the Second Amendment, but he didn't give us the will to use it. Okay? That's choice, freedom of choice. And so far, not enough people have decided to choose, and we don't have the leader to lead us and organize us. So, like I say, this, you want a miracle from God? It's called the Second Amendment. But he's not going to come here and institute that miracle. That's up to us. And like I say, if the government, we could go to the government right now. If we knew the truth, see, this is the thing. If we knew the whole truth about a lot of shit, okay, these people would be getting strung up by anybody that found them at the closest tree, okay? So we already have the reason to throw these people out. We don't even know 99% of what they've done, okay? So, but we ain't going to do it. And that's another thing with the Declaration of Independence. It doesn't ask us to do it. It's our duty to do it. We are charged to do it, okay? You are charged. What I mean, you are told you need to act. Security feed, say hi. Hi, security feed. Glad you're here tonight. Say, if you want to hit the subscribe button, appreciate it. YouTube's really hiding me and stuff. Yeah. Social media. And like I say, anybody who gets on here and jumps on me and stuff, like I say, they don't understand who their enemy is. Your enemy's in Washington, D.C., and they got a donkey and an elephant. It don't frickin' matter. God, I just can't believe the hush-hush about this. Democrats, oh, yeah, there ain't no list. Republican, the mega supporters, oh, yeah, there ain't no list. Or he's got this grand plan and shit. God, I'm so sick of that shit. Oh, Strictly, you taking off? Tom and Chad, have a good night and be well. Hey, thanks for showing up. Yeah, you know what Strictly Cycling is? He's a liberal. And he got on one of my live streams, and we kind of went at it a little bit. And like I say, he grew up on a dairy farm in North Dakota, and now he lives in New York and stuff. But, I appreciate that this is the thing. We had a discussion. We weren't like a troll bitching at each other. We started having a discussion. And we find out, yeah, there is some things we agree on. Remember, it's the politicians that say, hey, they got R by their name or they're conservative. You don't think nothing like them. Okay? Most parents think alike. All right? I know all those school board meetings where I saw parents going off at the school board. Those all weren't conservative moms or dads. Okay? And like I say, the Democrat and the Republican Party used to be extremely different. I mean, JFK now, he would be considered ultra-conservative. I mean, remember, okay, let's go back to Watergate. Oh my God. Watergate shook Washington so much that a president had to resign because some nincompoops broke into some headquarters of a campaign headquarters of the Democrats to sit there and try to steal. Crazy time. But that was so big that the president lied about it, that he had to resign. But the Epstein list, quit talking about it. What was it, Howard Gershwin or whatever? What was that name? Gershwin? Okay. That broke that story, whatever. Nothing. The biggest story, I would say, of the 21st century. Those aliens happen to land on the White House lawn, and they may have to do that fake to get rid of this straw that might break the camel's back. I'm not that stupid. And I'm not going to pretend that I'm not stupid. And a lot of Americans aren't that stupid. We want to hear the truth. Okay? When the IRS comes to my door, if they do an audit me, I have to tell them the truth, or they throw me in jail, correct? If the cops come to your door and want to know something, you have to tell them the truth, or you're considered an accessory. That's nothing. All these people know what's going on. Trump knew about Epstein, what he was like 30 years ago. Oh, I distanced myself from him. Yeah, but you knew what he was doing, so he didn't do nothing about it. So, how is that he not culpable for allowing this to continue to happen? And now he's the most powerful man in this country, and now there's no list. Okay, if there's no list, then why were you separating yourself from him 30 years ago when you thought, and then like I say, IRS, where'd the money come from? Who has billions of dollars in cash in your apartment? I mean, that's an awful lot of money to have. I don't think he was a prepper. I don't think Epstein was a prepper. His island was probably set up so we didn't have to leave that for a while. But, who has billions of dollars in cash in their apartment? Nobody knows where it came from. And the guy was a 7th grade history teacher. Have the human race gone insane? Okay. I don't know how else to put it. I mean, boy, this pill they're trying to get me to swallow, I just ain't going to do it. How about we just come out with the truth? Like I said, if the cop ever stops you, I guess now you're allowed to sit there and lie your ass off to him and say, oh, you said I would do a 90 and a 55? No, I wasn't speeding because there's no list. Show me the list. Anyway, there's going to be serious repercussions from this. Like you say, if this don't lead to civil war or a civil unrest, because, we finally got an issue where the voting Democrats, independents, and Republicans, where the real conservatives and the real Democrats and the real independents are kind of all looking at each other and say, hey, I'm not buying this. And they're causing the group to all be on the same side. I still like it. Trump sits there and says there's no list, and all of a sudden we have peace in America. Oh my God, what a crazy world we live in. But don't worry, suck it up, everybody. It's just going to get worse. It's just going to get worse. I don't know how much the human being can endure, but obviously as long as they keep a phone in front of them and their cash card still works, they're good to go, okay? But the day when that happens, when their cash card don't work no more and their phone goes offline, oh my goodness gracious. If you live in a big city, it could be a rough time. Me, I'll be having my popcorn with my beverage and, be on your YouTube. Maybe I'd even download TikTok then. They wouldn't have it. Anyway, whatever. And watch the world just implode on itself. Anyway, like I say, could you imagine no more EBT? I guess there's nothing to laugh about because it's going to get freaking serious. Like I say, eventually we're going to have to deal with the illegals. The American people are going to have to deal with the illegals in our corrupt government. Eventually we will have to, okay? And the longer we wait, the more they get to entrench themselves and the harder it's going to be. Not that we won't succeed, but just a lot more people will probably not make it through the other side. These are the times we live in, people. You were born in a time where we may have our second partisan war, civil war, whatever, taking our Constitution back, war, whatever. You're born in this time. Okay, you can't hold your head in the sand and try to sit there and let history and the truth pass you by. It ain't going to work. This will affect everybody, especially when the financials get hit. Like, what's propping them up anyway? Insane logic, okay? Look up at, the Whiskey Rebellion. Oh, yeah. That was when they started taxing moonshine, basically. And people said, fuck it. And they called in troops and everything for that. Like, when we started losing our country? The day after we celebrated the ratification of the Constitution of the United States, we started losing our country the next day. And it's just been a progressive thing ever since. Because you had people, remember, the Constitution only passed, I think, by 2 votes. It wasn't a landslide and everybody voted for the Constitution. 2 votes. There were a lot of people then that didn't like the Constitution. And it's the same people, they weren't as radical back then, but they've been working all these years to undermine and get their way. They need to start teaching history. Really need to start teaching history. Socialist. I mean, this country was founded on, hey, you can make whatever you want of yourself. No restrictions. Well, except, if you follow the 10 Commandments, you'll never break another goddamn law. Okay? But you can sit there and be free. But and do anything you want. People were excited about that. They sat there and came over the ocean and said, oh my God. And, when we started giving land away and immigrants could come here and get their land and stuff, what they sacrificed for that, to sit there and knew they had the ability to better themselves, but because of their system they were in, they didn't have the right to better themselves. Anyway, all I know is I'm sick of this no list shit. And we lost the one too, because those who rule, organize, and make loyalty something your life depends on and does. There's sheep do not organize to fight for what is right. Herding in fear. I know they all want to follow the herd. And I'm a cowboy, believe me, I know about animal behavior. Jeepers cripes, I could sit there and move out at the ranch there I have video of it on my old channel. But I'm moving 350 8 to 10 month old yearlings. Got them all strung out by myself on what we were, modern ranches. They use 4-wheelers now. Because it's faster and because it's because nobody knows how to learn how to ride a horse because it's too hard. But I'm all stretched out. Just walking to the other gate and stuff. As long as you can get one dumb animal to start walking the way you want, the rest of them will just follow. And that's what we're dealing with. And that's why they need the government to make it fair, because they have, people that need the government to make it fair for them, they don't have no faith in themselves. They don't feel that they have the ability to sit there and make it on their own. They need a crutch. And the crutch is the government to take money from me to give to them. Okay? Thank you for deleting that, Guardian. I missed that message. The New York City mayoral candidate. Oh my God. New York, well, you guys got problems. If that guy gets in, because the government ain't going to do nothing to get him the hell out of this country, which he needs to be kicked out anyway. And he's going to get elected. I can't imagine what your grocery stores are going to look like. I shouldn't laugh. But I mean, are you kidding me? I mean, I know, I get to hear what's going on in New York because I watch the Angry Prepper. I think he's retired now, fireman out of New York. Big black guy and stuff, cool as hell. And he walks around New York, and I see the crazy shit. I mean, that one time he's walking around at night, and he pointed over to the dumpsters, and I didn't see the rats, but the trash was moving. Ugh. I don't know how people can live in that shit. Anyway, but yeah, with him, let's just say I would predict that if he gets become mayor, 20% of the population in New York will leave during his first term. Okay, it'll turn into like Detroit turned into, even worse. Just because Wall Street's there now doesn't mean Wall Street's going to be there forever. Okay. Wall Street needs to make a living too, needs to make a profit. So anyway, when New York loses Wall Street, the New York Stock Exchange, I don't know what to tell you. Things ain't going to be good for New York, okay? But that's just one problem, like I say. So much going on in today's world. Oh, been going on for an hour and 6 minutes. Hey, if you're just new here, you want to support the channel, hit the thumbs up, the subscribe button, and the bell notification. Help this channel out. So get it to growing, getting the word out, doing whatever I can, doing the best I can. Because I tell you what, I get a big headwind. Oh, I tell you what, when my channel was growing like it was, like a weed. I mean, that's where you guys came from. Hey, thanks for thumbs up and subscribe. I appreciate it. What's the word? The word? There is no list. How stupid do they think we are? He worked by himself. Oh. Anyway, but don't worry. Everybody's okay with that answer. Boy, I wonder what it was like, what they had to sit there and threaten Trump with. Because is he on the list? What do I think about that? I'll tell you like I told you, I think about that. Until he proves to me he's not on the list. They say, well, he's on the list because he was on the Laredo Express, but he was with his wife and kids. I don't buy none of that shit, okay? So he's got to sit there and prove to me that no, there's no blackmailing shit of you and stuff. Anyway, it's just, we're not that stupid. And now everybody sees on both sides, the true Democrats, which I would call the JFK Democrats, and your independents, and your Ronald Reagan Republicans. But, he wasn't the best president either. But I'm definitely not going to say Richard Nixon. Or maybe we could say Dwight D. Eisenhower. Maybe we'll go there. Dwight D. Eisenhower and JFK. How come Dwight Eisenhower got elected back in 1952? Anybody remember what he promised to get elected? And he fulfilled that promise? Although the war's not over, he got us out of Korea, right? But anyway, all I know is go back to them days. All of us are looking at this. All of us that got spanked when we grew up, we were telling lies and doing stupid kid shit. We got disciplined, okay? And realized if you did something stupid, you would be held responsible for it. Okay, all of us are looking at this. This is bullshit. It's like the guys sitting in prison, basically on death row. But a lot of these people should be on death row too, be like, what the hell am I doing here? I didn't even do something half that bad. He's definitely on the list. The good old boys, yep. You know, George Carlin said it's a big old club and we're not part of it. You know, that's just the way it is. But we could end that at any time. You know, how much more shit are they going to have to pile on? And then they're trying to distract with everything. Well, the Epstein list ain't that important right now because he's got this to deal with and the Texas floods and Ukraine and Russia and China. Fucking bullshit. All I know is if you got children, you better protect them at all costs. Make sure that you know all the time where they're at. I mean, to where they're always monitored. They're basically, our kids are going to get so used to living in a surveillance state because they're going to have to be surveilled all the time to make sure they don't get taken. God, I'm so glad I didn't live up in that shit, God, we were kids. We got kicked out of the house. See you at lunchtime, kicked out of the house. Because if you hung around the house, you know, you had chores to do. If you decided to hang around the house, they found more chores for you to do. Of course, there were days where you had a lot of stuff to do, but you got the hell out of Dodge. And nobody was afraid of us getting picked up. Of course, maybe our parents wouldn't have cared anyway. As you can tell from my channel, I might have been a little bit of a handful growing up, you know. That's why the Marine Corps suited me just fine. Got the discipline I had to channel my energy the right direction, okay? Anyway, there is no justice in the justice system. If there was, you'd never need a lawyer. Yeah. I mean, if they try to haul you into court and you went in there and told the truth, hell, they wouldn't know what the hell was going on. They're not used to hearing that. All I know is I can read the Constitution. I don't need a law degree to interpret the Constitution or the Declaration of Independence. It's pretty self-explanatory. And then they get this degree, right? And they don't even know what the phrase shall not be infringed means. So I just don't think their law degree is doing them very good. I mean, they got their law degree and they don't even realize that we're in a constitutional republic. When's the last time you heard a politician just say republic? When's the last time you heard a politician say constitutional republic? It's always republic or Democrat. Democracy. I never gave an oath when I joined the Marine Corps to a democracy, to our Constitution and our republic. Do you understand? Not a democracy. Can't support it. Have nothing to do with it. What are we talking about, hernia here? Anyway, but I'm sorry, I'm not paying attention. I get it on a roll and bam, 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 bam. But hey, my moderators, what'd you think of my shorts today? What'd you think of my thought of the day while I was riding my horse? Just came to me. Thought it was pretty cool. It's the truth. You slow your life down. You see what you're missing, and you'll start seeing what's important. Anyway, yeah. I'm a simple man with simple pleasures. I just love the humble and simple life too much. I just can't handle the hustle and bustle of the new age society. Yeah, I'm out here on YouTube and stuff, but you guys can see how I live. Being on YouTube, I don't have to compromise the way I live. Like I say, I'm just trying to get the word out. Okay, the truth out. And then one day when I really get serious on YouTube, like I say, I believe this is the new type of Hollywood, because nobody likes Hollywood no more, where you can start producing your own TV shows or YouTube shows. And I'm not talking content like this. I mean actual TV grade shows. Okay, it's coming. All right, and that's what I see in the future. But we need to get rid of this censorship. Everybody needs in this country, especially the higher ups, because we all know the rules of this country. Us little folk, we all know it. But it's time our leaders of our country get introduced to the Constitution with a bitch slap. And if they've broken the Constitution, they need to be charged accordingly. Because we're not going to listen to there is no list. Anyway, I tell you, like I say, I just feel like I'm in the service. I'm being told stand by to stand by when you're all ready to go. Anyway, kind of like a racehorse that's in the starting box, starting gate, and all of a sudden the net doesn't open. You got to back them out and then bring them in again. Okay, that fucks everything up. Yeah, I hope they do get a dose of reality, but we got to. They've been doing a lot of bad things for a long time. Okay, these people have, and some of us. If you sit there and destroy evil in whatever means possible, does that mean you're evil? No, it doesn't. There'll always be a fight against good and evil. All right? It's just the two sides. Evil doesn't sit there and say, well, I don't have a problem killing good, to sit there and promote our side. Just like in a war, I don't know the guy on the other side most of the time, or none of the time. It came out wrong. What I meant is you don't see him all the time, but you don't know him. But he just knows that, hey, I'm on the other side. I got to make sure I got to take this guy out, or he'll take me out. Evil will fight for his existence just as much as good will fight for its existence. And that's where we're at right now. Over the years, many years, evil has taken root. Like I say, they've been trying to undercut the Constitution from the day after it was ratified. After they all woke up from their drunk, they got up and say, now we need to get business trying to destroy this thing. It's crazy time. This is the thing. People through the millennial, through history, are the same type of people. Technology just changed. Okay? That's it. And now they're using technology to completely take over. Okay? Crazy time. Anyway, I'm going to get rolling. I don't know what the subject's going to be about tomorrow. Tomorrow, too, I got about 4 o'clock, between 4 and 4:30 in the afternoon. I will put out a live stream on my other channel, Lone Wolf Prepper Lives. I'll talk about a few things. So, and then I'll be live again here tomorrow night, do my shorts and stuff. And I tell you what, I wish the algorithm would stop putting me in the chokehold and let my channel grow and let me get the word out. The more people we get to realize who the enemy is, like say all these vets that we got homeless, within 2 to 3 hours, you could put them and bring them in one door and kick them out that back door of that building. There'd be clean shaved, haircuts, in uniform, looking like a trained unit. That quick. And they come out that door with a purpose and they'd be motivated. Anyway, they wouldn't be depressed anymore. And they would be with a group of people that, anyway. We got the people we need to take this country back. Okay? We got the Second Amendment. And to sit there and, we're allowed to sit there and say, hey, government, you've gone too far. I'm allowed to go on YouTube and say, hey, government, you've gone too far. This is not acceptable. Okay? You ready to? I tell you what, get your fire team together. If you know some guys around you, mine, I've been trying to get one together, but most people my age aren't in the shape I'm in, okay? That's just, most people aren't in the shape I'm in and they can't do it and stuff, but they could be used in other roles. But to actually get my squad, my fire team and my squad together is starting to be a little difficult. But we need to organize. And like I say, the best way, share my content with anybody, even ones that are going to disagree with it. Go down your contact list on your messenger and just whoop, everybody on there and just share my videos. One of my shorts. A short that will get them to look at more of my channel. You don't have to sell them my channel. Just get them to look at it, okay? That's what we need. Because you got to admit, there's a lot of people on YouTube that aren't going to say what I'm going to say, that I say, because they're too afraid to upset somebody. Now, I stay within community guidelines, but they may make it to where they start giving people strikes if we keep talking about the Epstein list. That may come too. So if that ever happens where I'm away for a week, I probably got a strike because of the Epstein list. And then I know it's just a freaking I already know it's a cover up a bunch of shit. I'm not stupid. And then Trump acting like he's guilty of sin. Are we still talking about this? Well, like I say, I'm glad Washington, D.C. and the mass media and all the Democrats and Republicans are on the same side of this. Okay? Haven't seen them all on the same side of this since they passed that first Save the World bill after the financial crisis of 2008. The first $1 trillion bill that went. I never seen them all together just like they were back then. And the American people really got fucked back then too. Anyway, but we can't allow this to happen to our kids. We cannot allow these absolute beyond criminal, devil worship, just whatever adjective you can come up with, worst freaking people in the world. We can't allow this. It needs to be exposed. And we definitely can't allow these people to still be in charge of the world, not just our country. This affects every country in the goddamn world. I guarantee you, okay? Epstein was running a revolving, blackmailing, underage whorehouse. And nobody did nothing about it. And the ones that knew and didn't do nothing about it, yeah, they need to be charged too. Especially for covering it up. Anyway. Well, I appreciate you putting the word up. Like I say, get it spread. And that sharing helps tremendously. Sharing helps tremendously. Sharing my shorts. Okay? Like you do the one with the Predator versus Predator. See, that gets somebody thinking. Not only will they look good on my channel, but they're going to go watch that movie, okay? But yeah, shares help with the subscriptions and stuff. There's a way to combat the analytics, but it's just a tough, drudging job, and I can't do it all myself. I think of all the time on how to sit there and get around the algorithm. That's why a lot of my shorts you may not think make sense, but I get enough analytics to get back to see how I can sit there kind of, not trick the algorithm, but get it off my back for a while so it's not watching me as intently. But over the last week, it's been really watching my ass. Like I say, my channel grew a little bit too much the first week of July. It didn't like that. But that just goes to show me that people want to hear what I have to say. That people see that the United States is kind of a fucked up place. We're sick of working our asses off, paying for shit through the. It's not the America we grew up, especially the older generation. It's not the America we grew up with. We didn't go through high school in school in the 60s and 70s and 80s to think that the world was going to be like this in 40 years. And that we'd have to tolerate it. And that we were the bad people. When we were growing up, you never treated an older person with disrespect. Now it's a rite of passage for these young sons of bitches. Oh, you're a boomer. You're a Gen X. You don't know what anything's about. We don't want to hear the way it was back then. I mean, if they could sit there and feel the real repercussions of their actions in the state this country's in, boy, they'd shut up. But as long as we keep going trillions and trillions of dollars in debt and keep sitting there accepting this behavior and letting them get away with nothing and never hold them responsible for their actions, I guess they'll be 70 years old and never grow. But yeah, that's all I got for now. I could sit there and go on with this. That's why I like live streams. I love doing live streams. I hate videos. I hate the one thing I'll tell you about. I can change this, put R instead of an is, because add a little bit extra spice here to get people to watch. Always thinking, people. Always thinking. Because when I pass, I want our country and our world to be freer than it is today. Okay? Not only is my goal to be a better person than I was yesterday, my goal is to do whatever I can to make the world a freer place than it was yesterday. So, anyway, and the best way to do that is to share the content and to get the truth out there. Okay? Because I know when a lot of us grew up, nobody cared about your feelings. You're going to hear the truth. That's just the way it is. Your ass is grass. I heard that a few times. Anyway, but everybody have a great night. Yeah, God, it's almost been an hour and a half, like I say. Feels like it's only been about 20 minutes. Anyway, don't worry. When I start doing my Paul Harvey dissertation on if I were the devil, in Sunday morning, I'm going to do it this time on a letter from God I'm going to start a Sunday Preppers Church. And that's what I'm going to call the content. It's going to be a live stream. Sunday Preppers Church or something like that. So I'm not an ordained minister, but you don't need to be an ordained minister to understand the Bible either, because we got ordained ministers out there that are marrying people of the same sex. So I think I've interpreted the Bible a little different than that. Anyway, everybody have a great night. This is Tom with Hidden Truths. I'm out of here.